What's up, Group Coach Nation? Oh boy, this is fun. Okay. I've been waiting for this one for a few weeks and kind of excited about this because like I met Rochel Marie like I don't know, a month ago. Yeah, I'd say a month ago or so. And we were on one of our group, like we put together group calls occasionally throughout the month just to introduce our people to other people because everybody's so awesome. And anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, like I I actually need to have like Rochelle on our podcast and on our show because what she does, not just in how she's built her practice. I want you to understand how she built her practice because so many of you will be like, oh my gosh, I see I can do the same thing. But also the way she transforms lives in her practice is just unique. She's written 9 books. I think it's 4 or 5 of them have been on bestseller list. She has a master's degree in what she teaches. She's a phenomenal group coaching expert because she does it. She also does some one-on-ones, and she's a really like well-known speaker in this space too. So let's talk shop first. Rochelle Marie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Gosh, you make me sound like I'm this fabulous girl. Well, I guess I am, but
You are.
I'm the queen. Well, I'm known as the queen of feeling fabulous. So you just really amped me up. So I can't let you down now.
You won't. And I on that note, I think it's so interesting. I feel the same way about me and everybody I talk to. We all feel like we're not as good sometimes as the way the outsiders see us. You know what I'm saying? But oh my gosh, you're a freaking rock star. And all of you listening in, I promise you, you are a rock star to the people who follow you and look up to you. That's 2 people or 2 billion people. Like, be you. You got this. And own your space. And Rochelle will talk about more of that in a minute. But first, okay, let's talk about your practice first. So you built an awesome coaching practice. First of all, like we're all talking about group coaching programs and stuff like that here, but why did you start coaching in this space first? Explain real quick what you coach in, and then I want to know why you started down this path, and then I want to get into like why did you decide to build groups versus one-on-ones or whatever.
Okay. So I'm a registered nurse in multiple states, licensed in multiple states, and my background is emergency room trauma nursing. But also, I suffered 17 years with an undiagnosed medical condition. And during that time period, I began to incorporate, at that time, I didn't know what they were, but they were holistic practices such as doing detoxification or watching what I eat or meditating. I started meditating when I was 10 or using affirmations and just all kind of little stuff like that. And so, long story short, as a registered nurse in the emergency room doing trauma, um, it was an eye-opening experience. And then my own journey with my health and well-being, going from being sick and in pain every single day until having a 9-month period where I birthed whatever it was within me and became completely healed without any pharmaceutical surgeries, anything like that. I realized that I was on to something. And so as I began to dive more into what I had been doing for quite a long time, but didn't know what it was really called, I stumbled across Ayurveda. And it was exactly what I was doing. And it gave me the wisdom behind why I was out of balance, what was happening with other people in my family. And it just so coincidentally synced with me and my expertise as a registered nurse doing emergency room trauma medicine. So I thought, one of the things I did during my 9-month journey of healing myself after suffering for 17 years, and what I had was a bleeding ulcer. Now I went to probably 100 doctors over that time period, and they would all prescribe me medication, but they couldn't get a specific diagnosis as to what I had. So after I did this 9-month journey when I was 25 and had already been doing all kind of stuff, one of the things that was instrumental, that was a game changer for me, was detoxification. And that led me to understanding how important it is, not only for detoxifying your mind, body, and spirit, but also to utilizing holistic medicine to heal you naturally. And at this time, I had already had my first business. And so I started utilizing the wellness wisdom on me. And then I took those principles and incorporated into running my first business, which I took in 6 years to being a top 50 woman-owned business in Silicon Valley.
Heck yeah.
in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah,
But
that's a boys' club. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So what I discovered though is as I reached out to meet other women, entrepreneurs that were doing business, they had businesses way bigger than me. Um, it was we neglected three things. We were either neglecting our wellness, our wisdom, or our wealth. And in those three pillars, there was something out of balance. So when I started Blissful Living for You as my second business, my specialty was detoxification. And I wanted to help people to understand that once you detoxify your body correctly, holistically, and naturally, then you open up space for more well-being to come into your life. You clear out the cobwebs and all that crap in your head, and your mindset or your wisdom becomes more enlightened. And when you have wellness and wisdom, then you can manage your wealth more successfully and take advantage of the strategies that are available to you. But if any of those pillars are out of balance, then it's kind of like it's like the, I guess, triangle. One leg is broken, you know what I mean? And the other two are taking on the pressure of trying to keep the stability within that triangle. So I decided.
So you did it.
Yeah.
So your first the business you built that first 6 years, was that a coaching business in this same space, or was it something completely different?
No. I started the first woman-owned, minority-owned telecommunications installation company in the United States because I couldn't be hired as an electrical engineer in Silicon Valley in the late 80s because I was the wrong gender and I was young. I was only 21 and a half. And they're like, girl, we love you, you're smart, but you're going to be working around men that are your father's age. And we got to figure out how to make it work for them. So we'll call you. I never got the call. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to school, get that RN degree. And then in the meantime, I'm going to think about how I can start a business. So I'll always have an income stream coming in and I'm not dependent upon too many others.
I love this. So they said, no, not you. And you said, okay, I'll just compete with you. Yeah.
And still have that business today. I'm the majority shareholder and CEO of that corporation. It's kind of like my male side, my masculine side gets nurtured, and then my very feminine side of Blissful Living gets nurtured. So I have the best of both worlds.
I love this.
29 years old, if you can believe that. I'm 20, no, not, but I feel 29 again.
I believe it. Yeah, let's rock and roll. Okay, this is really good. Okay, so you did the telecommunications business. You really did it at a high level too. I love that. Then you shifted into figuring out how to help people with wellness, wisdom, and wealth. Did you go straight into group coaching, or did you do one-on-one coaching first? Like, how'd you tiptoe into that? Or in your case, you probably just jumped right in.
Yeah, I'm that kind of girl. Initially, it was one-to-one because I actually had a spa in Northern California. And my spa, the clientele, for some reason, I was known as a detoxification specialist. And I do this treatment called the bliss therapy. And it's like, it's so good and yummy. It's orgasmic. You know, people will be like, oh, girl, and they do it. And they'd be like, oh, my God, when can I book another one? So I became known for that and attracted professional athletes from the Bay Area and famous recording artists and just all these affluent people. And then I decided after going to a conference to take the business global. So it became an online business. And I still help people individually. But someone told me, one of my mentors told me that I could serve people, more people faster and better. Not necessarily better, but I think faster. My reach could get wider if I did group programs, because that opened up space for me to educate and help more people, even though it was not so personalized and touchy-feely. It gave them the wisdom to allow them to take steps in their life to have that wellness, wisdom, and wealth.
Okay, this is really good. So a lot of people struggle with going from whatever their done for you service, which was the thing you're doing at the spa, or one-on-one coaching, to something group, because we think, well, it's so much more personal when it's one-on-one, or how to build a curriculum, or how do I get 10 clients instead of one client to fill that hour or 2 hours or whatever. How did you convince yourself that what you're going to do is going to help people in a group, and how to get that first group going? How did you do those two things?
So I'm going to share this story. It's a very heartfelt story. When I was working as emergency room trauma nurse in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, I got to take care of some very influential people, if you know what I mean. And some of these people, companies are all what we utilize in our world today is Silicon Valley. And there was one gentleman that came in and he was sick. They were trying to figure out what was going on with him. And he was my patient and I was assigned as his nurse. And so, we just had this dialogue. I really like to engage with my patients and stuff. And, I was talking to him about, meditation, just stuff. We're just having a conversation as I'm establishing rapport with this high profile individual. And we had a really good time and he ended up, getting discharged home and stuff. But 3 years later, he came back. Now I'm gangbusters working in my telecom business still, but I wanted to keep my nursing license. And I'm really passionate about helping people to feel healthy. Well, it's a gift. I'm very intuitive. I can see what doctors can't see and I can tell them and guide them. And I became known as that girl, right? And so I was pulling a shift, just, keeping my skills up. And this gentleman came in that I had seen 3 years prior. And he said, "Hey, is the black girl with the freckles working? I think her name is Rochelle or something like that." And I'm like, "Hey, yeah, she is working, but she's not." He goes, "Can you assign her as my nurse?" And they said, "Yeah." So I go in the room and I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Hey," he says, "I am so happy to see you." He said, "The conversation we had last time, it really stuck with me and it resonated with me." And he goes, "Now I'm dying." And he said, "I would give you all my money if I could be as healthy and well as you." But I didn't focus on my health and well-being. And those little subtle signs that my body was telling me I wasn't listening to because I was focused on being the visionary and creating and building my business. And now my business is, global. And still I don't even have enough money to save my life. He says, "I could give everybody all my money and I still could not save my life today." So he says, "I want to thank you for your conversation. You've been a blessing to me and I've never forgot your words." And he goes, "This may be the last time I see you and I want to see you in this way because I'm still able to communicate with you." He goes, "But keep giving your gift and giving yourself to others like you're doing because you're meant to heal and you're meant to save lives. It's just I came in contact with you." And he says, "Not too late because divine timing is always perfect. But I came in contact with you when I needed to hear the message that I did not want to hear for so many years."
Wow.
And that blew my mind. And that's when I knew that I had to work on wellness, wisdom, and wealth and incorporate what has worked for me and share it with others, because even though it's not the most techy or it's not the most latest medical technology, that still doesn't save your life. But if you learn how to take the steps to recognize when you're out of balance in those areas, you can begin to make the changes to circumvent the disasters that might be coming upon your journey and have a more beautiful journey as you travel down your path to bliss.
Oh, wow. That is so powerful. And what a cool person to come and actually take the
Yeah.
time to thank you for something so meaningful.
Yeah.
I'm not a sports guy. Okay. But the only sports that I actually like pay attention to vaguely are world football, so what we call soccer here in the States, and Formula One racing. Okay. And both of those I'm not just not that good at it. So, but I think it's so interesting that in all the sports we watch, whatever you do, like we all notice how important it is to take care of that athlete's body or that vehicle or whatever. And we're all about like so amazed that they're doing this and cheering them on. And we're like, "That's incredible." And then we go and completely destroy our own lives with not just maybe not what we eat or how we exercise like an Olympian or something, but like the mindset we have and what we believe about ourselves and the people that we surround ourselves with and all the things, right? The
Right.
stressors we put ourselves under. I love that you're not bringing people to the surface layer of fix your marketing, fix your business strategy, fix your communication tactics. You're like going deep and saying, fix you and let you actually come out healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fix you. And when you know how to fix you, then everything else can fall into line. Now, it's not going to be always easy. We know that it's not going to be always easy. But when you can fix you, the struggles get a little bit easier to deal with. And
Mhm.
anytime you go through a struggle, it strengthens you. For instance, you mentioned exercising, right? Like I'm a huge sports fan, and I used to watch Formula One with my dad, all kind of race car stuff. That's a whole other story. But I'm a huge sports fan, and I was a track and field athlete from the age of 10 through college. And so it was always like when you started back to train really hard, ooh, those muscles hurt the next day or the next few days. Oh man, sometimes I wanted to take a butt whipping. I ran the 400 meters, so I wanted to take like, ooh. But after I got through that pain, I began to develop endurance in my muscles. They began to grow. They were healthy. You know what I mean? They had the strength and the stability and the agility to do what I needed to do. And it's the same thing with your health and well-being and your mindset. And it's the same exact thing. There's nothing separate. We always want to separate and segregate different things. But in the big scheme of things, there's nothing separate. It all ebbs and flows together. You just need the right processes to make sure that your river flows flawlessly versus, with the big boulders and trees and crap in the water. You know what I mean? And so just paying attention to that. And you mentioned also something like with our cars. How many times have people like driven and like, you know what, I hear this little noise or my tire feels kind of funny, but I'm still roll with it. And then the car breaks down and it's like, same thing. Everything in our life talks to us. We just have to pay attention and stop being so busy with the external, but pay attention to the internal, and it will guide you flawlessly. You just have to pay attention to what it's directing you to do.
Yeah. Love this. Okay. Another just shop-oriented question. You work with people that are dealing with very personal, internal stuff. I mean, it's serious stuff, like scary private stuff, right? I've found, just full transparency, and I've been open about this here before by Group Coach Nation. Y'all know me. I've been privileged to do a lot of therapy work, and I wish people all over the world had the chance to like work with real therapists to get real help, like what you do. But unfortunately, it's not the case with a lot of folks. But I've had a lot of good help to heal from trauma, from choices I've made, choices that others have made on, that have impacted me, all the stuff, right? We're humans. Mm-hmm. So I found that when I was in therapy programs that were group oriented, maybe a little residential or like a 12-step program or something like that, there's a group versus just one-on-one therapist. Me and my friends who were in those groups, we would change and grow way faster in group scenarios than we would sitting there one-on-one with our therapist. And so I asked at a residential program, I asked a therapist, like, we're like a weekend and I'm like a year down the road already. And she was like, yeah, it's really well researched. And there's like this whole group dynamic because somebody says something that you wouldn't have thought of for a year. Like, oh my gosh, that's me too. And light bulb, all of a sudden, like the power of the group. So how has that been for you? Because you work in that space where people aren't just sharing business principles. They're sharing like, my life is falling apart. Yeah.
I think it's great because you know what a group program does? It allows you to see that you're not the only one with the issue. And it gives you confidence to say, I have that issue too. When you're doing individual coaching, you're not hearing from you're engaging with the therapist, right? You're not hearing from other people. You're not hearing, like you said, other aspects. So like, that's me too. I have, and so stuff that's in you that needs to come out, but you don't have the confidence, or you think it's only you, or you're embarrassed or shameful or whatever, you'll keep in. And so the therapy does take longer. However, in a group coaching session, and I don't care if it's for your wellness, your mindset, or your business, when you hear others people's stories, their journeys, their struggles, their triumphs, their challenges, their highs and their lows, and you can relate to it, it makes you feel connected. And when you feel connected, that energy in that group completely transform, because now everybody's focused on healing each other collectively. And so the therapist just has to really guide and give information and wisdom and, tap strategies and that kind of stuff. But you have now people that will hold you accountable as you hold them accountable for what you're learning in order to, you can transform to be better in whatever situation it is. And I think that is the power of the group. That is the power of the group. I love that kind of stuff.
I am so grateful that you're on this planet and you're doing what you're doing. Like you're truly helping. I mean, at Group Coach Nation, we teach people how to build group coaching programs and masterminds. Yay! I mean, I love that stuff. I'm a nerd, right? I love building the business, showing people to succeed. But sometimes, like when I meet people like you, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm helping people get freedom and get money, but you're like, oh, you're going straight to the core, and I just love that. So well done, well done, you.
Oh, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you.
Okay. Here, by the way, if you're listening in and not walking on screen, her website's up on the screen right now. So, Rochel Marie, it is Rochel
Marie. Just think of French, like the Olympics. Rochel Marie.
Rochel Marie. I love that. That's even better. I'm gonna say it that way from now on. So Rochel Marie. It is blissfullivingforyou.com. So the word spelled out, blissful, BLISSFUL, living, LIVING, and then the number 4 and the letter U, blissful living, and then the number 4, letter U.com is her website. So here is a question or two. People can go there. If you're like trying to figure out how to build your group coaching program or mastermind or whatever you're doing, and you want to go see an example of how somebody's doing it well, go check out our website, check out our stuff. Like this is, you got real people in front of you. Go see what they're doing. If you're like needing help figuring out the 3 things that we just talked about, wellness, wisdom, and wealth. So tell me this, how and who do you want to work with? Because we have a lot of people that listen and watch this thing. Who's the person you're like, look, if this is you, we should talk?
So I like to work with a couple of 3 different groups of ladies, particularly, I say queens, right?
Great. Just the girls here. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I do work with guys too, but for the ladies, I like to work with women entrepreneurs, typically within their 1 to 7 years. I like to work with career professionals seeking to get to that C-suite. And I like to work with individuals that are really ready to transform their wellness, wisdom, and wealth. They're tired of the daily grind of not feeling well, not having clarity in their mind, being stressed. And something I want to share with you all is that I mentioned earlier that I had this 17-year journey with my health and well-being, seeing many doctors. I had my first pelvic exam when I was 9 years old. And I remember the doctor saying, I don't have anything small enough to examine her. That's always stuck in my head, always. But what I realized on that 17-year journey was that now there's a diagnosis for what was bothering me, what created this illness within me. And it's called traumatic stress syndrome. So when I was 8 years old, there were 4 very traumatic things that happened to me. And when something happens to you that is so traumatic, you will process it in the weakest area of your body. So mine was my stomach, my digestive system. Some people's are their respiratory system. Others might be their heart. So people with high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, cardiac issues, that kind of stuff. Or some people's the mental instability in their mind. So they have neurological diagnosis or psychotic diagnosis. You will process that because when you're young, you don't know anything but what's happening in your environment and how to respond to things that are happening in your environment based on the people in your environment, right? And so it became really, really important for me to just help people understand that when you are tired of feeling sick, when you are tired of trying everything and not figuring out why it's not working for you, you're taking pharmaceuticals through, and now they want to add more to you. When you're really, really, really ready to make the change, then come see me. I'm your girl. Now, I can't make the change for you, but I can help to facilitate the transformation you desire to get to that point. I can help you to facilitate that in your life. And I will hold your hand along that journey to make sure that each and every step of the way, you are successful based on your own needs at that moment in time.
Those who are. Yeah. And everybody listening in, that's resonating with some, it's not with some. That's okay. Mm-hmm. You know who you are. I know who I was when I decided it's time to make a change. And if it's right for you and you fit the description that we just heard, like lean in and ask questions. You got a really strong expert here. And getting, as somebody who's not gone through this exact process, but one very, very similar, like this, it's so important to get healed and get you settled. And here's one thing that I measure: when is it time for a change? For me personally, this might resonate with somebody, might not. If I've been trying to overcome something, trying to get better, trying to become something new, trying to quit something old, whatever the situation is, in business and personal life, whatever. And it's been going on for a while, and I've tried everything. I've read the books, listened to the podcast, watched the YouTube videos, watched stuff like this. And I'm just not getting it. That's when you know it's time to put the reading and learning down and sit down with a coach who can say, yes, this stuff works, and here's how to make it work for you. And making it for you is what's so important. So, website right here again, Blissful Living for You. Again, Blissful Living and the number 4 letter U.com.
Chris, can I share one thing real quick?
Please do. Yes. Yeah.
In regards to working with me, because I practice Ayurveda and I share that with the people I work with, here's the thing I want people to know. Every individual on this planet is unique. And within Ayurveda, there's 3 predominant, what we call doshas, or I say translation, body types. The moment the daddy sperm hits the mommy's egg and then she's like, hey, yeah, come on in, let's create a baby. That's when your unique essence or your unique dosha is created. Twins, identical twins don't even have the same. When you understand your uniqueness of how you ebb and flow in wellness, wisdom, wealth, your life, then it becomes a game changer, because then you understand and be able to receive the information that will help you to create balance in those areas that are imbalance within you, that's uniquely special to you. So working with me or somebody like me, it's unique. What I may do for you, Chris, I may not do for my cup here, because you're 2 different individuals with 2 different body unique compositions. But you'll get what's unique for you to get through the processes to where you want to be.
Love it. Okay. Wow. Rochel Marie, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. BlissfulLivingForYou.com. So glad you're here. Take action. We say this all the time, and then we'll get out of here. Everybody here, Group Coach Nation, y'all hear me say this all the time. Do the work to get the results. Do work, get results. We say it constantly. This is not about creating a hustle lifestyle, though. This is about doing the right work to get the results you need. So if it's business stuff, you're trying to build a mastermind, lean in, we got you. If it's you got to get this wellness, wisdom, and wealth thing sorted and get your life back on track the way you want it to be, you got to reach out to Rochel Marie. Like, this is it. Like, do the thing. Like, do the work. The bottom line is make a decision, take a step forward. That's the best thing for you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been so fun. I adore you, so you already know that. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Such a privilege. Okay, everybody. Do the work. Get the results. You know why you're here. You know why you're listening. If it resonates, take action. If it doesn't, move on to the next episode or the next thing. Learn what resonates with you and take action. See y'all soon.